Right, hello lads and lasses and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today pre-season is officially over with Celtic's 2-0 win over Norwich last night for us here in Australia. So it is over, pre-season's done, and with the conclusion of pre-season we've seen everyone in action, and now it is time to choose, or well, for me to give my opinion on what is our strongest lineup. One that I think will cause a bit of debate, just naturally though. Before we go any further though, I just want to say I appreciate all of you for all the support during the off-season. You know, content is very hard to come by despite all the transfer rumours, so thank you all for that. And if you want to help support the channel, and if you're new to the channel, the best way to help support is to click that like button, click that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, the way it's going to work is we're going to go through it position by position up the pitch. Now, this lineup is in preparation for our opening day, flag day against Aberdeen. So any injured players will not be included in the lineup. Now, I'm saying that as a disclaimer right now, so don't go off at me when Carl Starfelt isn't included. Spoiler there. Anyways, let's get the graphic up on the side here and go straight for it. Goalkeeper. If this spot causes any controversy, I really don't know what to think about, you guys, because there can't be any debate with Joe Hart as our starting goalkeeper. He has the number 1 on his jersey. He's the number 1 on the field. It's as simple as that. He's proven in preseason that he deserves to be between the sticks, you know. He makes good saves, you know. He's always there. He's reliable in between the sticks, you know. He had quite a few decent saves as well against Norwich. Now, he did have the clanger, right, where he was almost bundled over and embarrassed by Timu Puki. But to be fair, that was a dodgy pass back from CCV anyway. So I don't think Joe Hart has done anything to not have the number 1 jersey. It's clear as day he's going to be there. That's as simple as that. Now, right back, Josip Juranovic. Another simple one. Shouldn't be many or any differing opinions on this. I think he's a crack and plur. Don't get me wrong, I think Ralston as well was a crack and plur, but all the same. But for me, Juranovic just is better than Ralston in almost every aspect, bar physicality, you know. And there's no real, I just think you saw it at the end of last season. We were such a better team with Juranovic at right back, and no one can really say otherwise, I don't think, you know. There's a lot of sentimental factor with Tony Ralston, seeing as he came through the academy and whatnot, and but Josip Juranovic is really 100% the better player and the best player to go with there. Right centre back. It is our American boy, CCV. We paid the $6 million for him. It's going to go up to $10 million. Arguably Celtic's best player last season. So he was so crucial, and he has to be there. You know, there's no doubt about it. You know, interestingly, I hate criticising players, but he seemed a bit careless in preseason so far. You know, that no-nonsense aura about him hasn't been there. Maybe because it is preseason, maybe because he knows it isn't really worth it. But I maintain the philosophy that every single player will have bad games. You know, even the best in the world, Leo Messi, will have bad games. But the players get those bad games, the better players get those bad games out when it doesn't matter. And I'm sure that's what CCV is doing in preseason. Or he's just missing Carl Starfelt by his side. And speaking of the left centre-back spot, remember, no Starfelt yet. Who do we go with? Who is the new yin to CCV's yang? Is it the future in Stephen Welsh? Is it Superman in Christopher Julian? Or is it the new boy in Moritz Jens? Stephen Welsh, he's already been building a partnership with CCV so far during pre-season, which has shaped up quite nicely. But for me, I'm going for Moritz Jens. I saw enough against Norwich last night to be convinced that he has to start against Aberdeen. Now, there are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, he is a commanding, tall, physical centre-back, an inch or 2 smaller than Julian, but a lot bulkier and a lot stronger, and he gives us that Celtic edge on set pieces and on defensive set pieces as well. You know, he may not be 6'5", but he is tall enough to attack those balls. You know, and that is a real thing that Celtic need, because we do look vulnerable from set pieces, especially in defence, right? And the second reason we need to have him starting is because of his ability on the ball. He has the passing game of a centre defensive midfielder, right? His forward passing game is very, very tidy. He's very, very composed, especially when under pressure and getting pressed. Adept at playing out from the back with both feet, I might add. So for me, I have seen more than enough to warrant the fact that he should start for Celtic. I think that's a spot that will cause a lot of contention. I think a lot of people will want Welsh there because he, has had that connection and has had that time with CCV. But I think it just has to be Jens for me. Maybe it's recency bias, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see what Ange goes with there. Left back, another contentious spot. Some go with Greg Taylor because he has earned the spot from last season and has done essentially nothing wrong to lose it. Some go with Bernabei because we paid £3.75 million for him and he has shown glimpses of his quality and of his talent. Right, and is that enough to get the nod? But for me, and it seems to work out for me, I am going with Bolly. Golly. Yeah, I know, that was terrible. That was poor from me. Well, Alexandro Bernabei. For me, Greg Taylor is reliable, right? Nothing special. He gets the job done. Alexandro Bernabei, on the other hand, he plays with speed and pace, and he seems to be getting into his groove. He's been in here for a month or 3 weeks, but the thing is, not every player is going to come in and have the same impact that someone like Kyogo did, who hit it off straight from the beginning. But for me, I do think Bernabei possesses that extra X factor that will make him a hell of a lot of a difference on that left flank, especially further up the pitch. He seems a lot better in attack than Greg Taylor has ever seen. So that's for me. Bernabei gets the nod. Now into the midfield, CDM. I don't need to back this decision with any stats, any figures, any nothing. It's Callum McGregor, our captain. Easy, done. If you disagree with that, hard. The only reason I can see someone disagreeing with that is because they prefer to see Callum McGregor further up the pitch. But the counter argument, which I believe is true, is we don't have a good enough defensive midfielder for Callum McGregor to be pushed up the pitch. He has to play in that CDM role. So that's why he's there. Box to box, centre mid, whatever you want to call it, Rayo Hatate. Boy, he is looking like a different beast this season. Right, I saw a comment, I think it was on the Instagram Celtic page. If you commented it and you're watching, let me know. 98% of the world is Rayo Hatate because he is absolutely everywhere. Going forward, tracking back, he's looking incredibly dangerous. Seriously, look, I know the season hasn't officially started yet, and I know we've only had pre-season matches, but I am one for bold season predictions before the season begins. We're going to do a video on that later in the week, but Rayo Hatate, for me, could easily win Celtic's Player of the Season. And it's not normal Rayo Hatate, it's mouthguard Rayo Hatate, which is lethal, although he does need a change of colour, because it's a pretty disgusting colour, but it shouldn't be too hard to find any other colour mouthguard. So we'll have to wait and see. But I swear to God, if it's not green, it's anything but that shade of blue. Now, attacking midfielder, this is also very tough, right? Because we have two options here. We have Matt O'Reilly, or we have David Turnbull. Now, I hold Matt O'Reilly in very high regard. I think he's going to the absolute top, and I think he's already a star. You have David Turnbull as well. I think he is very young already, but he's still young, but he has loads of room for improvement, but also has that talent now. Both of them have incredible footwork, an incredible passing game. They're great goal scorers. I'm really stuck with who to pick here, but I think I have to give it to Matt O'Reilly. He seems to be that little bit more consistent on a little bit of a higher level. It's inches, it's centimeters and inches, right? Don't get me wrong, this is one spot on the team where I wouldn't complain whether it was David Turnbull or Matt O'Reilly starting, but from what I've seen in pre-season so far, the nod goes to our Danish Donny. Now, moving into the front three, and there is quite a lot of depth in the front three, and we'll start with the left wing. We have two options here. Clearly, Dyson Maeda and Jota, right? I love Jota on the left just as much as the next person. I think him cutting in on his right foot is lethal. However, though, so too is Dyson Maeda really lethal on that left wing. But he hasn't got that cut-in game. He just works so much more efficiently on the left wing. Right? And it's funny, isn't it? Our best two wingers, right, are both right-footed, but they both specialise on the left wing. What are the odds of that? You know, for me, I don't think it matters too much. We saw it last season. They will just swap wings in game. We haven't seen too much of that in preseason, mainly because they haven't been playing for more than 60 minutes. But I don't think it matters too much. I think whatever they start on, I think you can expect to see them both on each other's wings at one point during the match. So for that, saying that, I'll just go with what Ange has been going with so far, and that is Dyson Maeda on the left wing and Jota on the right. Now, obviously, that leaves out Liel Abada, who I think has got a very big future ahead of him. But I can almost guarantee that throughout the course of the season, in what is going to be a very jam-packed, hectic season, we will see a great deal of Liel Abada. I don't think he's going to miss out much. I think we will see a lot of him, and he'll maintain that form from last season. Because the one thing I took away from last season with Liel Abada is if you catch him in form, there is no stopping him. That run of form he went on, just when we got back from the winter break, he was a different player just then. For a 19-year-old as well, that was incredible from him. So he's got a big future ahead of him, and expect him to be utilised a lot this season. Now, finally, the final and most debated spot on the Celtic starting 11 striker, Kyogo or Giakoumakis. It is the great debate. It is the great headache. You know, it's a tough one. It is extremely tough. On one hand, you know, we have a player with world-class off-ball movement who can pop up out of nowhere. He can change a game with. He can seemingly have 5 or 6 touches throughout the match, but score the winning goal, right? And not to forget an incredible pressing game, but he lacks that physicality and lacks that build-up play. On the other hand, we have a big physical target man. Finish with 1 touch, 2 touches, excellent hold-up play, uses his physicality very, very well, but he can be very slow and sluggish in the press. Despite him giving 100%, he just doesn't have that quick acceleration and short sharps of movement to be able to press both centre-backs and the goalkeeper. You know, and honestly, I was seriously considering not putting my take on this and leaving it up for you guys to decide, but I feel that's the easy way out. I feel I've got to stick to my guns. And the guns for me are Kyogo. Again, like the attacking mid spot though, I would not complain if I saw Kyogo starting or Giakoumakis starting, but I do believe that Kyogo is much more effective when he starts a match than coming off the bench, and I do feel Giakoumakis is equally effective both on the bench and starting, so that's why and also Giakoumakis, whenever we saw last season, he'd always seem more capable of coming on scoring when brought on later, in comparison to Kyogo, who whenever we brought him on as like a super sub, he seemed a bit ineffective. So for that reason, Kyogo gets the nod to start. But that is one position where literally we have the best 2 strikers in the league, and we could play either one of them. You'd expect them to get a hat-trick in pretty much most games. But that is all from me. So if you guys did enjoy the video, enjoyed this sort of switch up, putting my take and just hearing my thoughts and opinions, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below any disagreements you have, any differing opinions, start the debates. I want to see them. What are your takes on this best Celtic starting lineup? And until next time, hail, hail.